Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Saturday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, and I help folks create a side income using social media. Welcome. Good to see everybody. Hopefully, you're having a good weekend. You're enjoying your festivities with the family and everybody. Hopefully, you're enjoying everything. And we are live on all channels. I believe we are live on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. What's happening, everybody? So, how am I doing on lighting? I feel like I got the lighting, I don't know, somewhat correct. I don't know. Did I do okay on lighting? Am I okay? I don't know what's going on here, folks. I think we're doing okay on lighting. All right. So, Jenny, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. Since I was really rough on you a couple nights ago, so I'm going to take it easy again, one more night, and talk about love. Um, Kind of talk about, well, right, gray is coming out. Talk about true love, if you would. As you're joining me live, let me know you are here. Would love to know who's here, who's not here. TikTokers, let me know. Instagrammers, Facebookers. Okay, it's keep so like keep going. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Um, so true love, right? And I can talk about love and true love for like days. I have my own thoughts and philosophies, if you would, my own um, beliefs. Yeah, beliefs. Yeah, when it comes to love. But tonight I want to talk about three particular things. Okay, what happens if you fall in love with somebody because they're just so cool and they're humorous, they're funny, they got jokes, they're upbeat? What happens when you fall in love with somebody like that? It's pretty fun, right? It's pretty fun. Now, what happens when the jokes are not funny anymore? Thought about that? I know you've been there. I know it's happened to you. When the jokes are not funny anymore, and you're like, "Oh, I've heard this 100 times. The jokes aren't that funny. I fell in love with all this humor, and now you're not even funny anymore." Drop a one in the comments if you've been there, if you've experienced that, or maybe you've said that to somebody. I have heard that before, definitely. I've heard that before, and that's okay. Drop a one in the comments if you if you've said that to anybody. Two is, what if you fall in love with somebody based on their amazing looks, right? I mean, they are gorgeous, they are handsome, they're just amazing. They're everything that you want in a partner. Okay. As far as looks are concerned, everything, everything. You got the height, you got the white, you got the hair color, you got just the whole enchilada, right? And that's a pretty nice feeling, actually, to be honest with you. I have been there once in my life, and I'm really hoping that I can get there again. But it's a good feeling to have somebody that you're like, oh man, this is like somebody that I had prayed for, you know? So it's kind of nice to have that. But then what happens when the looks go away? Let's say, for example, I used to look a lot differently 3 years ago. I've lost all this weight, and now I don't really look the same, right? What if somebody has an accident and they don't look the same anymore? What happens then? You married them or you fell in love with them for these amazing looks, right? Those great looks, the body and the shape and everything's just perfect. And then what happens when the body and the shape and the looks, all that go away? Have you thought about that? I know you've been there. I know you've been there. I've been there, right? And then what happens? What happens if you fall in love with somebody that is financially set, right? They got money, honey. They got money. They got wealth. They can afford to buy you expensive things. They can afford to take you out. They can afford to take you on trips and spoil you rotten. That's a pretty good feeling, right? That's a really good feeling. I've also been there. And so, what happens when all that goes away? Because I've also been there. So, what happens when the money goes away? You've probably been there, right? You've probably been there. Now, let me ask you a question. This is probably the worst. What if the person you fell in love with was good looking, like just amazing, everything you wanted, was funny, and had money? Like that, had it all three, right? Andrea, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. So, what if had it all, right? Had the looks, had the body, had the shape, had the humor, had the charm, had the money. I mean, that sounds like a great deal, right? I mean, I would ask, hey, that's awesome. And then what if it's the same person? Then what happens that all three of them go away in the same person? Like he's not funny anymore, lost the money, lost the looks. You're like, what the heck just happened? I fell in love with this guy or gal because of all this stuff, and now it's gone, right? So, what happened to true love? Hmm, doesn't sound like true love to me that much. When it's all gone away, you're like, I'm going to go away too. So, true love is based on, I mean, so many have based true love on those three things, right? The guy's got the, or the gal, that's got the looks, got the charm, got the humor, got the body, got the this, got the money, got the status, and then they get to together, and then all that goes away, right? And then so does the other person. They're like, okay, I'll see you. So true love is more on a deeper level than the surface, right? It's more about the soul connection, right? It's about being there for each other. Now remember, notice I say each other, not just one other, right? So you want to be there for each other. It's a soul connection. When somebody goes down, you don't kick him into you know where. You're there for them. You're supportive. Hey, you you may fall in love because they have the looks and the body and the shape and the status and the cash and the humor and the charm, but that cannot be the only three reasons why you love somebody. Because eventually, I mean, let's just face it, eventually, not everybody drinks my collagen. So eventually, people are going to get older and they're not going to look the same, right? They're not going to look the same. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I haven't read the comments, but I'll tell you this. Um, how do I want to say this? You have this talk with somebody, right? You have this conversation with somebody, and that person, let's say, says, "Oh, that's just not true love. That's not real. That's that's bogus. That's being superficial. That's being fake. That's not being real." Yeah, that's all wonderful, and all that is great. However, in action, the stats don't add up. We have more people that say, "Hey, that's fake, that's not real, that's this, that actually don't do that. They actually do the opposite. They actually practice the opposite of what they're preaching. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. If the guy is charming and good looking and nice and's got cash and is in your life, and the next day he's not like that, how many of you are gonna really stick around? Really stick around. Now, before you come back and tell me, "Oh, if I really love the guy, I'll stick around." Before, because I've heard this stuff, right? I mean, I've heard all this stuff. So before you tell me that, really, 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 I want you to close your eyes and put yourself in that situation. Live with that person for years. They're good looking, they're nice, they're charming, they're funny, they got money, and then they're not. You gotta be realistic with yourself, right? Now, I'm not knocking it down. I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm just saying, hey, if you're saying that's the case, then you really got to practice that. So instead of now, I'm the first person to tell you that I'm not going to go out with somebody ugly. I've told you that before many times. I ain't going with somebody ugly. I ain't going with somebody who's not funny. I ain't going with somebody who's not charming. Right? My finances is not really that important to me. Right? But I want all that. I know that's where we start. Right? And I also know the progress of life. Right? At the same time. So if you commit to true love, make sure that it's a soul connection. Now, again, I'm not saying connect with somebody who's butt ugly and broke and is like a bum. That's not what I said. That is not what I said. Although that happens, but that is not what I said. I said all that is wonderful, but make sure that when you're like preaching, "Oh, till death do us apart." Um, Divorces happen, and the other person is still alive. Just saying, right? So true love is a soul connection. Is when when somebody is down, you're gonna be the helping hand. No matter what happens, you're going to stick around, you're going to build it out. When they get sick, they get in the hospital, they got cancer, they are going through a hell of a time, you know you're going to stick around. Now, I know this all sounds wonderful and everybody wants to do that, but again, once you close your eyes and put yourself in that situation, and I know you can't do that with everybody, right? I get that. That's not normal. You don't want that like with everybody, right? I get that. It does come with that soul connection, with that true love. Now you can be caring and love on people, and that's okay. But there's really only one person that you would stick around for no matter what, and that should come from a soul to soul connection. And one thing that I want to encourage you to do, if you're if you have that kind of a relationship, then it's a perfect opportunity for you to grow that, right? Build upon that and just really grow the roots into that soul to soul connection. It doesn't happen it's not like you see songs, people. I'll share this with you. Nico, how are you? I see you on TikTok. What is good? Um, I'll share this with you, right? It's not something like, you say, oh, I saw her or him and I fell in love right away. Love at first sight, right? Love at first sight. That may be okay. At some point, I may say, okay, that's wonderful, but but you can't have a soul to soul connection when you see somebody. That grows. That's like roots that just grows, and you give it attention, you give it room, you give it care, love. And that's when these roots grow and two people really become connected soul to soul. And I think that's the most important thing, and that's when the jokes and the stuff don't go bad. When you're connected to somebody, I think soul to soul, that's when I feel like that's when I call when I can call true love. When you're connected to that point, I feel like when you age and you get uglier and older and wrinkled up and all that happens, it's kind of the part of the game, right? It's just kind of it goes with it, and I think it beautifies even the process even more, right? So let's see. You don't believe in soulmates. Just like in business, find someone like you or better than you. Education, one. Yeah, that's true. Love is unconditional. It will stay. Um, so I don't believe in unconditional love. I don't believe I don't. I personally don't believe in unconditional love. I feel like the only unconditional love is through the Lord God. Um, Everything has got condition on it. Every other love has condition on it, because no matter how much you love me, how much you adore me, how much you're in love with me, if I beat you up every day, cuss you out, treat you like garbage, and cheat on you every day, you're not going to be unconditionally in love with me. You're like, screw this guy. I'm out. So there are some conditions to love. You can't. I personally don't believe in unconditional love, but you can definitely grow that soul to soul connection. Do I believe in soulmates? Um, Soulmates. Um, at some point, you gotta have the soul's mate, right? Um, and I don't believe it happens like at first, right? You don't see somebody and say, "Oh my God, this person is like my soulmate." You may say, "Oh, this person is great. This person fits a lot of the boxes, right?" Samir, namaste, namaste. So it may fit a lot of the boxes, but um, it has to mature. The roots have to grow. People have to just kind of those roots have to kind of intertwine and just grow together. And that I believe that's when you have the soul to soul connection. So I didn't think I was going to talk about this that long, but I feel like it's really, I've talked about love and stuff before. Some of you have heard, have heard my philosophies, I would say, maybe. Um, and some of you agree, some of you don't, and that is totally okay. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. I think the in a world that is just nuts. Let's just use that. It's just crazy right now. A little bit of love is good too. You don't have to like wait there until like you are completely in love to give it back. I think you can start with just a little to give back to the world where we need it desperately. So hopefully you guys got some love, some value from this, some inspiration. I appreciate you guys. I know I'm going to get some texts. Whenever I talk about love, I get all kinds of stuff. So it's awesome. Bring it, bring it, bring it. I appreciate it. I can talk about this. I got my own stuff, right? I got my own. So somebody the other day, I don't know who it was, who said, you have your own like language, which is kind of cool. Samir, I appreciate you, man. Thank you again for you guys. If you feel like this is worthy of sharing, do what you got to do. Spread the love. Tag people on this. Nico, I appreciate you joining me on TikTok. You Instagrammers and you TikTokers and you Facebookers. I appreciate you guys. I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, and I help folks create a side income using social media. Signing off until tomorrow when we do it all over again. Much love.